Okay, so we start with the characteristics, the differences between the endocrine and exocrine glands, control of hormone secretion, and then we identify various endocrine glands, and that will be the question and answer part. So, what are the characteristics of endocrine glands? One is that we have, on the basis of cellular arrangement, cells are either arranged in cords, okay, follicles, or as aggregates, or in a net-like structure. So, if you're given a slide of a histological slide and you see arrangement of cells in any of these four morphologies, most likely that is an endocrine gland. Okay. Also, they are ductless, so they don't have ducts. So that's the second characteristic, and that will enable you to differentiate it from an exocrine gland. Okay. And then they are highly vascularized. Okay. So they have rich blood vessels, and these blood vessels, especially the capillaries, they are fenestrated. Okay. They are fenestrated or sinusoidal. They are either sinusoids or fenestrated capillaries. The function of these fenestrations is to allow the hormones to move from the gland itself into the bloodstream. We want that to happen because that's how hormones reach the target organ. They use the circulatory system to travel to the target organ. So you want that to happen, and if if you need that to happen, the capillaries within the gland must be fenestrated to allow that free movement of the hormones from the gland into the circulatory system. Okay, so these are just some basic characteristics of endocrine glands. And then when it comes to the differences between now endocrine and exocrine, first of all, you can see on the endocrine part, they are ductless, no ducts as compared to this one, which has a ductal system, and we will discuss more about this ductal system. And then it is the nature. Also, they differ in terms of the nature of secretion. Mostly endocrine glands release hormones. Okay, hormones are secreted into the blood, but for the exocrines, they secrete chemicals. Okay, chemicals such as enzymes. Say, uh, say for example, um, the pancreatic exogenous part of the exocrine portion of the pancreas, which releases the pancreatic juice. So those are just chemicals. Okay. Then another difference would be actually um, now in terms of these secretions, their effect. How long does their effect last? The effect, hormones have a long-lasting effect as compared to secretions from the exocrine glands. Say an enzyme. If once an enzyme is produced, it will act for a short period of time, and that's it. But a hormone, its effect is long-lasting. Okay, so those are just some differences between endocrine and exocrine. You can find out up to uh, you can state others, such as in endocrine you expect it to be highly vascularized. Also the exocrine is vascularized, but if you investigate the density of this vascularization, you find it to be more dense in the endocrine uh, glands. Okay, so those are just some differences, and at least you know some 5 differences between these two. Okay, so what are hormones? Hormones are those chemical messengers. Okay, so hormones are usually divided, or rather classified, according to one, their nature. So are they proteinous in nature? Are they lipid derivatives, or are they amino acid derivatives? So we have some hormones which are proteins in nature, or peptides, such as insulin and growth hormone. So you expect the um, cells which produce these to have the the classic features of protein synthesizing cells, those electron microscopic features of protein synthesizing cell. So we will get to that later. Then hormones, other hormones are lipid derivatives, such as so they are mainly derived from cholesterol and other fatty acids. Examples are steroids. Okay, so steroids, um, for example, testosterone, estrogen. So you expect the cells which produce these hormones, which are lipid derivatives, to have the classical features of a steroid synthesizing cell. So we will look at that later on. So you should know the electron microscopic features, and you should be able to pick them out. If you are given that photomicrograph, can you be able to pick out these are the features of a protein synthesizing cell, and these are from a steroid synthesizing cell? So that is, we will discuss that later on. Other hormones are amino acid derivatives. For example, epinephrine. Those epinephrine is a derivative of the amino acid tryptophan. Tyrosine gives rise to the amino acid, the thyroid hormones, thyroxine and triiodothyronine. So those are derivatives from amino acids, uh, tyrosine. Okay. Also, hormones can be grouped according to their site of action. Okay, so the hormone effects can be described as follows. One, it can be either endocrine. By saying endocrine, you mean that they are released into the blood system and they act at long distances. Take, for example, the hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone. That hormone is produced in the anterior pituitary gland, the adenohypophysis, but it acts on the uh, thyroid gland. So it is acting at long distances. That's endocrine. Now we have paracrine, where these um, secretions now diffuse a short distance through tissue fluids to nearby cells. So in endocrine, you need the circulatory system, blood, for the secretions to be transported to the target organ. But for paracrine, you just need the intermediate environment, the tissue fluids, for that secretion to diffuse to nearby cells. Autocrine, on the other hand, means that the, the cell which is producing a secretion, the same secretion acts on the same cell producing it. Okay, so these three definitions, I urge you to remember them, especially for physiology. They will test you to they test you to make sure you have understood those three concepts. Okay, so we need to control these hormones. So how does that occur? Let me discuss how thyroid hormones are regulated, and from that you can get the idea of how other hormones are also regulated or controlled. So we have the hypothalamus there, and then we have the pituitary here, anterior pituitary and posterior pituitary, and then we have the target endocrine cell, and then we have now the final target. So hypothalamus usually releasing hormones. So that's the first step. So hypothalamus releasing releasing hormones. So hypothalamus is part of the nervous system, but it also plays endocrine roles. So it is part of the neuroendocrine system. So it releasing hormones which stimulate the anterior pituitary to release hormones, trophic hormones in this case. Then trophic in the sense that these hormones stimulate growth uh, of the target organ, okay, or the target cell. So these trophic hormones act on the target endocrine cell, which in turn releases the final hormone, which now acts on its target. Now, let's take for the case of thyroid. So the hypothalamus would um, release the thyrotropin releasing hormone, which would act on the thyrotrophs on the anterior pituitary to release the thyroid stimulating hormone or the thyrotropin. That hormone would act on the thyroid follicular cells, and the thyroid follicular cells would now release thyroxine and triiodothyronine. So that's how the hormone secretion occur. But now, how do you regulate this? We have what are known as feedback loops. Okay, feedback loops. So feedback, the negative, mostly in most cases is negative feedback, but I believe in physiology I've been taught that you also have a positive feedback system. So in most cases, the hormone released here can either act on the hypothalamus to inhibit the release of the releasing hormone, or it can act directly on the pituitary to to uh, to 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 inhibit the release of now the trophic hormone, and in some cases the hormone itself here can act directly on the target cell to inhibit its own secretion. Okay, so you can have three levels of regulation. Okay, so that's how you regulate hormone secretion. So the hormone can act either on the hypothalamus, can act on at the pituitary level, or can act at the cellular level. Okay, so with that said, um, let's now get to the question and answer part. And I just want to wish you good luck. Uh, be be keen with these images. Trust me, they are not okay. They are not challenging, but just be keen with them. Okay. So you just type the answers in the you just type your answers in the chat box, and I'll be able to see them. Okay. So let's start with this one. So which gland do you think this is? Which gland do you think this is? Okay, I'm waiting for your responses. Now Martin is asking another question. Martin will answer your question after you have answered the question. Which gland do you think that is for question one? Just put your answer in the chat box. Pituitary. Aha. Pituitary. Okay, I can see most of you are able to identify it correctly. So, give reasons. So why do you think it is pituitary gland and not any other? Guys, any reasons? Any reasons? Any reasons? Guys, neurohypophysis. So Omondi tell us that he suggests that he's suggesting that we have a neurohypophysis and an adenohypophysis. So between A, B, and C. So name A, B, and C. So these are parts of the pituitary. So what is A? This region. What is the name of this region? Okay, what is the name of A? A would be uh okay. A is adenohypophysis. 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 They are saying A is adenohypophysis. So adenohypophysis is constituted of several parts. So which part of adenohypophysis is A if you want to be specific? Adenohypophysis is yes, pars distalis. So A is pars distalis. Okay. So adenohypophysis is constituted of past studies. What are the other constituents of the adenohypophysis? What are the other constituents of adenohypophysis? Pars tuberculosis, okay, and pars intermedia, okay, and is there another constituent? So it is pars studies, tuberculosis, and intermedia, okay. So B B would be B would be what? B would be what? Pars intermedia, okay. So why pars intermedia? How have you identified that B is pars intermedia? Why is that this region here is the pars intermedia? Yes, correct. That's the pars intermedia. Why? How have you come to the conclusion that this is pars intermedia? Okay, I'm waiting for an answer to pop up in the chat box. It is between lab case cyst. Okay, Hope has correctly picked it up. This cyst here, these are known as the large case cyst, okay, or the colloid cyst, okay. So those, once you see those are the characteristic feature of the pars intermedia, okay. So pars intermedia produces which hormone? Which hormone is synthesized in the pars intermedia? Which hormone? Which hormone? Mm, Jackson is asking what of it been between. Okay, we can say it's between past studies and past intermediate, but the best would be you actually picking out this large case cyst. Okay, that is that is a distinctive feature. Okay, so but even that concept of it being between can still apply. Okay, so the hormone produced there is correctly said by Hope. It is the melanocyte stimulating hormone. I urge you to know the function of that hormone. Okay. Then C would be what? C would be what? C would be what, guys? C would be which? What is the name of C? Pars nervosa. Great. Pars nervosa. In fact, that is better than saying neurohypophysis. Even if you say neurohypophysis, still good. But neurohypophysis has several parts, namely, remind me the parts of the neurohypophysis. Neurohypophysis, apart from pars nervosa, which other part? The infundibulum. Okay, the infundibular stalk or the neurostalk. So remember that infundibulum connects the posterior pituitary to the hypothalamus. So neurohypophysis or pars nervosa here, if also median eminence, okay, median eminence too. So the pars nervosa here, it looks somehow fibrous. If you compare A and C, A would you would see that A is much more cellular. It's cellular, but C is fibrous. Okay, so once you see these uh, distinct characteristic that a part is mainly cellular and another part is fibrous, I urge you to think about pituitary. Okay, so pituitary, the pars nervosa um, stores two hormones. Which hormones are stored in the pars nervosa? Which hormones? Which hormones are stored in part body C? Okay, we have ADH and oxytocin. So vasopressin and oxytocin. Okay, ADH and oxytocin. Good. So I maybe we get there, but let's discuss more about C. So this pars nervosa has supporting cells. So what are the supporting cells of the part body C? The supporting cells. What is the name of the supporting cells? Pituicytes. Good. What about if I come to the now the past studies? What is the name of the supporting cells here? What is the name of the supporting cells found within A? I'm still waiting for a response to that. What is the name of the supporting cells found within A? I remember we asked that question in our end of year. Chromophobic cells, chromophiles, chromophobes. No, no. What is the name of the supporting cells? Chromophiles and chromophobes. Those are the okay. Chromophobes are just consider them as chromophiles which are not active. They do not produce hormones, but they are not the supporting uh, cells. What is the name of the supporting cells of the past studies or the adenohypophysis for that sake? Okay, maybe you've not had this, but it is the folliculostated cells. I'm typing it in the chat box. Folliculostated cells. Okay, you need to remember that. That folliculostated cells. Okay, I've typed it in the chat box. Take note of that. Um, they might decide to ask you. Okay, so folliculostated cells are the supporting cells of the adenohypophysis. So regarding the pituitary gland, describe how it develops. So it has a dual origin. So where does the neurohypophysis come from? Where does the neurohypophysis come from? So where does the neurohypophysis come from? Okay, the floor of the diencephalon. Great, that is wonderful. So the floor of the diencephalon. So diencephalon came from your neurotube, and your neurotube is ectodermal in origin. Remember the process of neuronation. Okay, so floor of the diencephalon. What about adenohypophysis? Where does adenohypophysis develop from? The Radke's pouch or the roof of the stomodium. Great, roof of the stomodium. Radke's pouch. You guys are good. So the roof of the stomodium, which is also ectodermal, usually evaginate outwards and somehow forms that Radke's pouch. And within that Radke's pouch, you have that cleft. And in some, if we cannot illustrate that cleft here, but you might find some histological slides which have that left uh, uh, within. Okay, so you need to know how the pituitary gland develops, and if the Radke's pouch uh, fails to involute, it can cause that craniopharyngiomas. Okay, the craniopharyngiomas, especially in the roof of the nasopharynx. Okay, so so I think that's it for that question. Keep up with the keep answering the question, and let's now proceed to the next question, which this question. So which tissue do you think this is? Which tissue do you think this is? Which tissue do you think this is? Okay, take your time. Take your time. Take your time to just think about it. But one thing is for sure, you can see this very see that structure. See, you can concur with me that that is a vessel, that is a vessel, that one. So this is a highly vascularized organ, so it must be an endocrine organ. So think about it. Which endocrine organ is this, or rather which tissue is this? I'm waiting for your answers in the chat box. Just put anything, we discuss it. Pineal gland or chuchi, pineal gland. Okay, I see. Martin is saying adenohypophysis and he's laughing there. I don't know why. Okay, thymus, okay, thyroid, submandibular parotid, thymus. This is very good now. I like it when now people have different answers. Adenohypophysis, parotid. That is yeah, now let the discussion let the debate begin. Adenohypophysis. Okay, for those guys who said adenohypophysis, it is actually adenohypophysis. Okay, this is actually adenohypophysis. This is just a higher magnification of the adenohypophysis. So you can see we have some purple cells, some somehow purple. I hope that's purple. Others are pink. So A is pink, B are somehow purple, and then other cells like this one or these ones, or maybe also these ones here, they are not taking up stain. So the red and the purple one, or rather the pink and the purple one, those are the chromophiles. Whereas the other ones, which are somehow clear, they are not taking up the stains, are the chromophores. So remember the chromophiles are either acidophiles or basophils. So those ones which are somehow pink, this is hematoxylin and eosin stain. If you use hematoxylin and eosin stain, the H and E, the acidophiles, uh, they are they are acidophiles. So that tells you that they take up that eosin because eosin is actually that uh, pink. It is what is giving them the pink red appearance. So A are the acidophiles, B are the basophils. Okay, so basophils are these purple looking cells or the purple stained cells. Okay, so this is still adenohypophysis. Now regarding A, now name two cell types which constitute A. So what are the which are the cell types which belong to the adeno, or rather the acidophilic group? Which cells of the adenohypophysis are acidophilic? Okay, I'm waiting for your response. Mammotrophs, good. So what is the other name of mammotrophs? What is the other name of mammotrophs? What is the other name of mammotrophs, guys? Lactotrophs, good. So mammotrophs or lactotrophs, the other ones are somatotrophs, good. So it is either lactotrophs or somatotrophs. Mammotrophs stroke lactotrophs produce prolactin. So prolactin is concerned about production of milk. Okay. Then somatotrophs, on the other hand, produce the growth hormone or somatostatin. Okay. So now we go back to the question Martin had asked at the beginning, which was uh let me he had asked. So gigantism is failure of this feedback loop kama kwa growth hormone. So gigantism is now, imagine now these somatotrophs now overproduce the hormone. So we have hyperfunction of the somatotrophs. It might be there we have uh, these cells, the population of these cells is so big, so you have a benign tumor affecting these somatotrophs that they release a lot of growth hormone. Now that is how gigantism comes about, and that it will be gigantism if the growth hormone is released in excess in a child. So in an individual whose epiphyseal plates have not fused, they become giant. So gigantism, they have large body features, they'll be huge. But for the case of a person or an individual whose epiphyseal plates have closed or fused, say an adult above say the age of 24, 25, somewhere there, this they won't they won't be regarded as now, that condition won't be gigantism anymore, but it will be acromegaly. Okay, they have big, big uh, extremities. If you look at their hand, it becomes so big. Okay, so the way you diagnose this easily is just asking the patient. Uh, Ideally, after the age of 25, your shoe size should remain constant. If by 25 your shoe size is say 40 or number 6 or number whatever, it should remain somehow there. But if someone comes to you and tells you, last year I was wearing shoe number 40, now even 45 cannot fit me, you should think about acromegaly, especially in an adult. Okay, so that, as you have seen, you need to revise on that. Okay, so for those guys who had said parotid and submandibular, parotid might, I know parotid, why you said parotid, I know these basophilic cells are confusing you with the serous acini, but the way you differentiate these from parotid is now in terms of these capillaries. And see, there is that these sinusoidal capillaries, these sinusoids are extensively in these organs. So that's how you can differentiate this from a parotid. Okay, so that's that. What about B, basophils? Give me examples of basophils. Give me examples of basophils. Guys, give me examples of basophils. Examples of basophils. Okay, I'm waiting in the chat box to see your replies. Uh, Examples of basophils. One, you have corticotrophs, good, thyrotrophs, and gonadotrophs, good. So, okay, so gonadotrophs release FSH and LH. So the follicle stimulating hormone and the luteinizing hormone. So, luteinizing hormone, there is a hormone in males which is synonymous to luteinizing hormone. What is the name of that hormone? A hormone found in males whose function is somehow similar to luteinizing hormone. In fact, its structure is similar to that of luteinizing hormone. What is the name of that hormone? What is the name of that hormone in males? In males, you find that hormone, dihydroandrostenedione. No, good trial, but still no. What is the name of that hormone which is synonymous to luteinizing hormone in males? Okay, what is the name of that hormone? Maybe I can help you with that. It is known as the